All right, welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. This is your Arsenal news today, the first edition. We'll be having two editions on a daily basis. Transfers are done, so it's basically going to be transfer news in Arsenal news updates. Basically, we'll be talking about what is transpiring around the club. Not much of transfers because I think until May, yeah, that's when we shall talk about much of transfers, who comes in, who leaves. But we shall be doing more and more. Games are coming in thick and fast. We lost yesterday, and that's going to be the focal point of Mikel Arteta's press conference because he did have one, and I'm going to analyze it, look at what is actually happening around the club. What is Mikel Arteta's reaction? Should we appeal the red card? Are we going to appeal that red card? There's so many things I want to hear, in this update, especially from Mikel Arteta. That red card against David Lowy, we should appeal against it, and there should be a penalty on that referee. But we're going to be talking that and more. Smash the like button, get the comments in as well. I'm going to be looking at Mikel Arteta's press conference yesterday. We lost a game we didn't deserve. Right, we'll be back. Let's just get down to business. Press conference transcription. We are using football.london today. I like them. I told you I just like them. Mikel Arteta was asked on the refereeing decisions yesterday, and he said if there is any contact, it's if there is any contact, it's him with David. I don't know if they have a different angle to what they have or you have. Those big decisions are like that, but it's nothing I can change at the moment. It was a big decision, and they can justify if they got it right. I put my hands up and apologize. The only thing I'm saying is I'm sitting here and I cannot see any contact, and it's really frustrating because it's a big moment in the game. That is according to the refereeing decisions, and I think he was a little bit humble when he was actually talking about that. For me, I think it was so ridiculous because there's no way of saying it was a big decision in a game that could be justifiable. Yet we have VAR on the pitch. Then why do we have VAR in football? Why do we have VAR on the pitches? We should have football without VAR so that we can know. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when referees made such decisions, and they cost teams goals, games, because I still remember we played Manchester United so many times, and referees have actually screwed us up. But it's at the end of the day, you're gonna say after all, the referee is only human. There's no way his brain is going to have a review, in those seconds, and he has to make a decision in less than a minute. So you understand. But now you have three processes to go through. The referee either sees something, the liner, or you can go to VAR. Actually, you can also go to the TV. Those are four processes you can go through. There is no way you're going to tell me that the referee is going to actually apologize. That was very, very minimal contact. It wasn't a penalty, it wasn't a red card. They just screwed us up. But that's how Mikel Arteta actually responded to Chris Whitley's question. Arteta on the second half, he said we were really animated at halftime because we really wanted to win this game. We didn't concede any chances, but Moutinho scored a worldie. By the way, that was that was a beautiful goal. And I agree with Mikel Arteta. There are times when you're going to lose and all the odds against you. Look at that goal. How many times do we see such goals? Of course, I have to concede. We've considered a couple of them. Human Son, that was another worldie, from almost 40 yards away from the box. Again, yesterday Moutinho scoring a 40-yarder away from Ban Leno's goal, and I think apart from that. There were no key moments for Wolves yesterday in the second half. They had one moment in the second half. They have one moment in the first half, and they win the game, of course, with the referee on their side. On Leno's red card, he said, I imagine he makes the decision in a split of a second, and naturally he tries to stop the ball. There is nothing he can do. Yeah, of course, like I said, the intention there was purely to stop the ball. Was purely to stop the goal. He was trying to interfere because he knows his defender is going to be a little bit late, and the Wolves striker, the Wolves player, is going to be there, there first. But he measures, and he sees he can reach that ball before the Wolves player. I think it was Adama. That was purely natural of a goalkeeper, especially of a German goalkeeper. They always do that. We have always, seen them do that. Whether it's Tim Horn, whether it is Leno, whether it is Tastagen, whether it is Manuel Neuer, they do it, and that's the beauty with their game. But look, the decision at the end of the day, at least I'm not gonna lie. I would rather concede a goal. I would rather concede that goal than concede the Leno red card. It really changes our season. That goal was going to change the game probably, but this one changes the whole season. The red card, it was so immature, so immature. But the intention was really pure, and I cannot actually crucify Leno for having saved his he's what he wasn't fighting for a clean sheet, but I think he was trying to save the goal. Arteta on the game, he says the way we lost the game really hurts. It's painful, really painful, and I've seen so many people ranting about it. Whether it's DT, AFTV, because it's Arsenal podcast, Glenn Catley, everybody's ranting, and it's disgraceful. Actually, it's not really painful, but it's so disgraceful. You can't just get it. There is a way match officiation in England is becoming just shit. It's becoming, a laughing stock. It's just laughable. It's a joke. Your VAR, by the way, I think ever since VAR came into football, I think referees are just making stupid decisions because they know at the end of the day, whatever he decides, there's going to be a machine that is going to actually, have the final say. So it's like the referee has does not have control over the decisions they are taking. I'm gonna give it a penalty. VR will decide whether it's a penalty or not, and that's why in my match reaction I said this is about VAR. This wasn't about the referee. It was about VAR because he gives the penalty and a red card straight away, and then he waits for a decision. You can overturn that. We've seen yellow cards overturned. We have seen red cards overturned. Yeah, Emily Smith Rowe's red card against Newcastle in the FA Cup game that was overturned. So I think referees are taking decisions now, not because they're in charge of those decisions, but because they have to take a decision and wait for VAR. And I think they're waiting for a system that is very, very, very incompetent as compared to referees. Look, I would rather have 5 referees on a game, on a pitch. You have 2 goal line referees, you have two liners and a central referee, and actually a 4th official. Those are 6. I'd rather have 6 officials than have fucking VAR. Arteta on the red card, I think that was about David Luiz says it's hard enough to win football games in the league. Those big decisions are like that, but it's nothing we can change at the moment. On how close Tierney was, he said he wasn't close at all. Hopefully, in the next few days, he feels much better. I told you this question was asked by Kai Kainak, and it was a brilliant question. And in match preview, I told you that Mikel Arteta had said that Tierney was not going to play, and someone was shouting in my comments, Tierney trained what? I told you he wasn't close to coming back. And Arteta says he wasn't actually close to coming back. Arteta on the Matran injury, he said he had a muscular issue in the last 2 days. He hasn't been able to train. Hopefully we can get him back in the next few days. Now that is where problems become more of problems. You have you have a centre back sent off. You have your goalkeeper sent off, and the backup goalkeeper who was signed from Brighton is actually injured 1 day after the transfer window closes. That is how screwed we are, aren't we? Arteta on whether he will appeal on the Luiz red card. He says, if I'm sitting here now, I would say yes. We have to speak with the legal at the club and see what's the best thing to do. But look, there is nothing to look at. To talk to the legal team and see what's the best to do. I think this is a straight no-brainer decision. You've got to appeal that red card. That red card was really stupid. If we do not appeal that red card and it stands, it's going to be like, the decisions made in that game were absolutely right. That David Luiz wanted to, tackle the player William Jose, that he deserved to get the red card, which is not true. I think it's a no-brainer. We've got to appeal that red card. We've got to appeal, to appeal on it. And of course, still talking about David Luiz said, I've just seen the replay 10 times in 5 different angles, and I cannot see any contact. The contact was there, Mikel Arteta. I think he was just serious. The contact was there, but the fact was William Jose was running, and then his foot his foot touches the knee of David Louis, who is running behind him. That is the contact. The contact was there. However minimal it was there, because I think if it wasn't there, then fucking VR should have, I even don't know. But I think the truth is, there was contact. There was contact. If you see it very well, there was contact. But in the first place, it is William Jose running, and he gets contact on a player behind him, and it really doesn't make sense. Someone is not trying to make a tackle. His hands are up, and then you give him a red card. It really did make much sense. So I think that's one of the decisions I'm going to wait for from Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. Are we actually going to appeal for that, on that red card? It should be appealed against. It should be appealed against. There is no way you can take it in. No way. There's no way you can take in, such a decision. Very, very poor decision. But overall, I think it's a game gone. We just need to focus ahead. We have so many hard games coming on. We have Leeds away, away, and we don't have our goalkeeper. We don't have any of our first 2 choice goalkeepers. This is so scary. You're playing Leeds away, and you know how hardworking Leeds are. You know how pressing Leeds are. You know how good Leeds are. They're just going to make fun of you if you have a funny goalkeeper. And I hope Runason has a better game than the Manchester City game. So basically that is the Arsenal update right now. There are not so many updates. Aubameyang is back. We saw him play yesterday. He didn't have the best of games because already the game was screwed. Gabriel Magalhaes is also back. I hope he starts picking up his match fitness. He wasn't so sloppy yesterday. I should say. Rob Holding was also a little bit firm. I think the defensive issues are not much of a threat. The only problem is we are having Cedric playing in left back, and we're having a right back that is actually really not competent enough. But those are issues to discuss maybe during the transfer update when we talk about who should come in, who should actually leave the club. So that and more will be coming up after 5 p.m. That is when I'll actually give you the next Arsenal update. For now, that is it. Mikel Arteta, David Luiz red card, Bernd Leno's red card, 2 red cards, 2 goals, and we lose. If you want to know where we are, I'll actually provide an update on that just a little bit on the table right now, because it really doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. We are fighting to get top 4, and then someone screws up, and then we are back into the relegation battle, aren't we? We are in position 10. We have played 22 games. We have collected 31 points. Leeds and Southampton actually lost to Manchester United horribly, 9-0. That was so horrible. We are behind Aston Villa. They have 32 points, and Aston Villa actually have 3 games in hand, and they are 1 point above us. Everton also have 33 points, and they have 3 games in hand. The equations do not actually balance. The equations do not balance. Our hopes for top 6, our hopes for top 4 are actually fading away, because right now, if you look at Spurs, who are seated in 6th, they are actually 2 points ahead of us, but Spurs have 2 games in hand. We have 22 games, they have 20 games. West Ham, who have 35 points in 5th, they have 4 points ahead of us, and they have 1 game in hand. So I think if we had won yesterday, it would have been something different. We would have been 6th, waiting for Chelsea and Tottenham to play each other, which obviously meant we would be ahead of either Chelsea or Tottenham Hotspur. That was as simple as that. But there is no need to cry over spilled milk. It is gone. Arsenal lost to Wolves yesterday. Embarrassing decisions from Craig Pawson yesterday. and useless decisions from VAR as well. Have a blessed stay away from the channel. Smash the like button, by the way, on this video, and I'll speak to you in the next one.